All right, everybody, what's going on? This is Coach Lewis Shine, and as people are filing in, I am excited for tonight with my special guest on tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of great things, and you're going to get to know all about him. But just a couple of housekeeping things. Make sure you go ahead and share this and retweet it on your page and let your Twitter Spaces community, your Twitter community know about what we're doing. This is going to be awesome. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into this thing. I'm going to open it up in a word of prayer real quick. Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to be on here, to talk with coaches, to share information, to fellowship tonight. And we just give you praise, honor, and glory for the success of it. The lives will be touched, even careers will be helped, and connections will be made. And we give you praise right now in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome our guest as people are filing in tonight. Coach Ellis, I connected with him a couple years ago. Found out that we had a lot of things in common. Not only knowing the Lord, but he actually played pro basketball with one of my cousins, Clay Tucker. So that was a pretty, just commonality. We kind of got off into that and just talked about a lot of other things, but just like spirits, we just attracted and we've been connected ever since. And just so honored to be a part of his life and vice versa, and just excited to bring him on to be able to be a blessing to our coaches. And so, without further ado, I want to welcome to the Twitter Spaces for the night, Coach Ty Ellis. How's it going, Coach?
Everything is great, bro. Thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to growing together tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And man, again, I always, want to extend a thanks, man. Coach Ty was a part of the coaches conference we did this summer, and I know a lot of coaches that'll probably be on here tonight were in there as well. So I appreciate you being a part of that, man, and just always supporting the things that I may be doing, man.
Absolutely, all grow together, and it's important that we continue to support each other for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, man, we just want to get into this thing, but first, man, if you take just a few moments to kind of go down your history, man, like, how did you get introduced to basketball? Your playing career, and just what led you to not only get into coaching, man, but just in what you do today to bless so many, man. Just a brief few moments, man. Just kind of tell us about yourself.
Yeah, because I went to Dallas Sparta, which is a real prominent athletic school in the Oak Cliff area of Dallas. I was an average high school kid, man. Played on a really good basketball team and wound up getting a scholarship to Southern Nazarene, a small NAIA school in Oklahoma City. I remember when they were recruiting me and they asked me, I was excited, to get a scholarship, and I asked them rather, can I redshirt my freshman year? And the coach gave me this strange look like, yeah, that's not pretty common, but why? So, well, I want to get my master's degree paid for, and I want to go right into coaching. Yeah, and so that's exactly what I did. I got my master's completed by my fifth year, and wound up, man. I just got a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, started jumping a little bit higher, and before you know it, there are scouts, NBA scouts in the stands watching me play at the NAI level. Like I literally had no desire to play pro ball. I didn't think I was good enough. I wasn't chasing that dream of playing pro ball. I was just hooping and I was just so committed to the game. And my senior year, bro, I wind up, averaging second or third in the country in scoring, and first team All American, Player of the Year, all the different accolades at the NAI level. And so there's this tournament called the PIT, the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, and it's for college seniors who didn't get that much shine from mid-major or small D1 schools. And I remember asking, calling the NBA asking if I can be invited. And Marty Blake politely told me, he said, "Your level is not the level what we're looking for. Thank you, but no thank you." So, all right. Well, I cut grass, I cleaned garages, I babysat, anything I could do to raise money. That's what I did, and I raised up enough money, and I had one little dusty suit, and I went to Portsmouth, Virginia, and I sat at the corner where the scouts enter and exit the building. It's a week long tournament, And every scout, every agent that passed me, I introduced myself. How you doing? I'm Tyler. I wasn't invited. Please give me a chance. I know I can play at this level. Bro, I probably said that 80 times that week. So by the end of the week, I am livid because I know I can play at this level. I walk to the local Y, and Mitch Kupchak is there working out as well. If you guys don't know who Mitch Kupchak is, back then he was the president GM of the Lakers. Now he holds that same position with the Hornets. And Mitch is like 6'10", 6'11". He never smiles. He has like a Herman Munster type of feeling to him. And so he's on the elliptical. So now he's like 7'2", right? And the worst thing I can do is go over there and interrupt this man's workout. But that's exactly what I did, bro. I went over there. We sparked up a conversation, and he took me in the gym and worked me out. 30 minutes of straight sprints, suicide, 17s, up and downs, just tried to break me. And he asked me, he said, "Son, are you tired?" He said, "No, I can run some more if you want me to." He said, "No, no, that's good enough." I did a couple shots, couple of ball handling drills, couple of dunks, and 2 weeks later, he calls me and invites me to play for Lakers summer league team, and that's how my pro career started. I went out to the Long Beach pro am, played with the Lakers, played exceptionally well. From that pro am, I went with the Knicks and played in Boston at their pro am. I mean, at their summer league. Played well there, and I wound up getting drafted in the inaugural season of the D League in 2001, 2002, and wind up having a good G League, D League rookie year. And my first job in Europe was in the ACB in Spain. And from there, God blessed me to have a long 10-year, 11-year European career and playing in Euro leagues and all that type of stuff, man. And I knew I was going to coach afterwards. So every scout I met during my decade plus of playing, I introduced myself, I got their contact, and I met them. And I kept in contact with them. Like, bro, I literally had an Excel sheet of everybody I met. And in my Excel sheet, I had tabs of call, email, text, letter. Then I had some of their personal data, like their birthdays, their wife's name, their kids' names and birthdays. And so I just strategically kept in contact with everybody my entire career. So I was thinking about retiring in 2012. I played a long time, and I told my wife, you know what? I'll just put out a couple of emails. If you get some bites, I'll go ahead and retire. But if not, I'll go back to Europe and play. Man, I wound up getting three coaching opportunities, and it was with Cleveland, OKC, and Dallas. And I wound up choosing OKC, and I've been coaching the past. I just finished my 11th year of coaching. So yeah, and so now I currently coach with USA Basketball. I'm an assistant coach on the World Cup qualifying team, and I have my own business called the Ellis Performance Group. That's Ellis PG, P as in Paul, G as in grape.com. And I'm an executive coach for executives. I'm an optimal performance coach for athletes, but I also travel the country speaking about growth mindset, leadership, and empowerment. So that's it. Hope it wasn't too long and boring.
Oh no, that was great, man. And there's so many things I want to touch on in that. Um, Man, from the time that I've known you, mindset is kind of like the differentiator, like that takes anybody from where they are to where they want to be. Hence your story of how you put yourself out there just to talk to Mitch Kupchak, and you went for it. Kind of talk about how much that has played, like that same mindset and tenacity in every achievement, and even what you do today. Like, how has that played a big part of your life?
You know what? The biggest thing with me is I'm not afraid. Like, I'm not afraid to fail. And a lot of people are afraid to fail. That's one of the most common mental strongholds that I deal with my clients or my different audiences. That fear of failure. And the biggest thing is they don't understand how powerful failure is. I tell people this: failure and success are fraternal twins. Like they look nothing alike, but they're born on the same day. They need each other. And if I'm talking to one of my clients or talking to a group, I would have them raise their hand if you want to succeed. Raise your hand if you want to fail. And then all the hands just drop. I said, that's the wrong mindset. It's impossible to succeed without failing first or failure in general. With failure, with a fixed mindset, when you take an L, that's a loss. With a growth mindset, when you take an L, that's a lesson. But it's literally our choice. And so that's my biggest thing, man. That's the biggest separator when it comes to professional sports. It's having the right mindset.
No, it definitely is, man. I'm glad you touched on that, and I can see how it's been evident in your life. I mean, you told me a number of stories over the last few years of just connecting with you, man. So that mindset piece can make you or break you. It can take you to the top, take you to the bottom. I mean, and you've been around, people at the highest level, and you've had an opportunity to even coach people at the highest level in this, and then on the other side of that, see the success of those that you've been able to teach and mentor, that have taken that kind of information from you and went to the next level. Maybe tell us about a story that's near and dear to your heart where you've been able to connect with a coach or somebody in an executive position or a team, and because of what you've been able to implement, there was success on the other side of that.
Comes to mind specifically, and is very current in what we saw these last playoffs, is Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent played for me his first 2 years as a professional. And in his rookie year, he averaged 8 points coming off the bench, 29% from three. Just had a typical rookie year like this. The the grind, the speed, it just ate him up. He was just growing, and he committed, fully committed to the growth of the game. So that summer, he didn't have any summer league invites. He played for the Nigerian national team and had a really good showing. He came into camp arguably better than everybody on the Stephen Kings team, but he should have been on the Sacramento Kings. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. He gonna come to my team, and I love giving roles. I give roles to every player, and when it boils down to it, I give the role individually. I bring all of my team in the media room, and I tell them this: if you like your role, work your butt off to keep it. If you don't like your role, work your butt off to change it. But the common denominator is work your butt off. But with my conversation with Gabe, I told him, "Hey man, I want to have you come off the bench for us." And it was almost like I just deflated his whole balloon. His shoulders slumped, and he had a great camp, and he knew he deserved to start in the eyes of everybody else and himself. But this is what I told him. I said, man, I want to put you in position to create value. It's your job, it's my job to put you in position to grow, and so you can be looked at in a different way. It's your job to create value, right? And I tell people this: money and opportunity is attracted to value. If you create value, the world will pay you to be yourself. And I got that quote from Dr. Miles Monroe, this phenomenal speaker. I believe it. So I told him this: if you come off the bench, you're going to be playing against a tired starter, a starter that's in foul trouble, or a second string player. And you will win all three of those. But so don't worry about starting, focus on finishing. If you have started minutes and you finish the game, that's what counts. And not to mention when you get called up, not if, but when you get called up, you're going to come off the bench and be a great role player. And as you guys saw this last playoffs, when Kyle Lowry got off and on during the season and in the playoffs, it was Gabe Vincent that came in and took control. Right? And so when the scouts called me and asked me, why is Gary coming off the bench? Like, is he a bad guy? Is he a bad kid? Is he late for practice or something? I said, no, that's just the role I gave him to help this team win. And they said, that's it? Then what else? And instantly, Gabe Vincent became valuable. And now he just signed a multi-year deal with the Miami Heat, and he will have a long, successful career.
Yeah, that's powerful right there, man. It's, I've always heard it as key people in key seats, and everybody's not a starter, but you can flourish at your role. And I see those guys that embrace that role, and they end up succeeding, and even sometimes more than those who maybe at those starting positions, and you think like, okay, they're going to be fine, but then you see this like sixth or seventh man, they get this long term deal,
Yeah,
and they're very valuable. So that's really awesome right there.
we put value on starting. We think the starters are the best players on the team, and it's not true at all. I mean, I played in Europe and EuroLeague, and the teams I made the most money with, I came off the bench
Wow.
because everybody was good. Now the teams I made the least amount of money with, I started, I averaged 20, but the teams I had a very successful seasons with, and we did well and off the court, I averaged 12 points coming off the bench. But I brought value to a championship contending team. And so only Americans, we think our best players start. No, our best players finish. That's the mindset of the European style. Your best players finish. Who cares about starting? If you're averaging eight minutes a game, 12 minutes a game, nah, I want to finish. So it averages 25 minutes a game, 3 minutes a game.
Yeah, that's very powerful, man. And to be able to have that mindset, I mean, I'm not sure if it'll ever shift over here in the United States, but you do see in programs that are successful that's very prevalent to the way they operate. I mean, you look at a team like Golden State, it doesn't appear that they have players that could care less where they come off the bench. Don't matter. It seems like it's just a unit. And when
Yeah,
I see teams like that, I just really like watching basketball like that because it doesn't matter who shines. They just want to win.
yeah,
You know,
correct.
so yeah, man, that was pretty awesome right there. And let me ask you this too. I hear just different tactics that you have implemented mentally. Have you done how you have done things with players that are now successful? Like your player you just talked about getting the contract. How have you taken these things that you have experienced as a coach, as a player, and now you travel and work with programs and teams and organizations to try to implement these same principles for that success? Like, talk a little bit about your drive and what you do.
Yeah, well, the leadership. We have to embrace this role as coaches as being effective and efficient leaders first and foremost. Now we got to teach leadership in our players. Like the buzzword in the sports world, in the business world, on sales team, just all over is accountability, right? But there is no accountability without ownership. But we expect these people to be accountable, but we haven't taught ownership, right? And we have to take ownership first as leaders and be better teachers. You know, I spent some time in when I was in Phoenix with the Suns. I would go visit Herm Edwards. He, he was at ASU as their head coach, their football coach, and he would tell me all the time, as a coach, Todd, there's two things that's happening within the organization. Either you're coaching it or you allow it, right? So don't be that coach to blame the players. That's the coward's way out. It's very easy to say, well, this player isn't good. This player does this. This player does that. Well, remember, either you're coaching it or you allowing it, right? And so that really stuck with me. So I developed an ability to be. I believe I'm an elite teacher. I teach. I don't tell. I teach the why first, the how second, and the what third. And when we were growing up, we just taught the what. and expected the kids, our coaches expected us to do it. But nowadays, I've seen NBA coaches, NBA coaching staffs, they get very upset when the players don't do what they told them to do. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you haven't taught them why it's important to do it. You haven't showed them how to do it. You only told them what to do. And I don't understand why in the hell you can be mad at your players for doing something wrong and you haven't explained it to them. These young men and women have so much information at the palm of their hand. And if you haven't grown as a coach, shame on you because these players are way more talented and they have way more knowledge than when we was growing up.
Yeah, that's very important, man. And one thing you said there is, if you're not teaching it to them, how can you expect them to actually operate in it? And that brings me to thinking like, as a coach, I had to look up the definition of a coach one time, and I was like, okay, a coach is somebody that helps someone to get from one place to the next place. And I've been around a lot of coaches, and coaches I run into a lot of managers because a manager just takes something and it's just you just keep it the way it is, or sometimes I run into coaches that they look for ready-made teams or ready-made players. If the player's not in a certain place, it's like they don't want them. I'm like, but if a player comes into your program, when they leave your program, they should be better because you're supposed to coach them. If you think about a life coach, you hire a
Yep,
life coach to help you. You don't hire them
yep,
just to call and say how you doing, and they're coaching you. So there should be an element of coaching that takes place when you encounter an athlete.
yep. You know, coaching is synonymous with leading, right? You have bosses, you have managers, and you have coaches, you have leaders, right? And this is what I've discovered in my journey in the last 2 years. We all know what Webster's dictionary or Webster's definition of different words. I think that's the foundation. So believe that every word is really based on our interpretation. So you can say, well, this is what a coach should do. Well, that coach over there, his interpretation of a coach is based on his experiences. So now that's what he wants to be. So for me, it's the same exact way. The foundation of a coach, I know what it is. But my identity as a coach is based on the leaders who influence me. And I believe every great leader, they influence through inspiration and not manipulation. And there's so many coaches that I've experienced, that I've witnessed, they influence through manipulation. Right? They hold this power over the players' heads and use that as a fear tactic, as a mechanism to get them to do what they want to do. But there's no respect in. And so I think it's we're living in a time, man, where this power is overtaking our desire or vision of inspiring. I think that's a big problem that's going on with coaches. Most coaches, and I say this from experience, first and foremost, experience this so I can identify with it. Most coaches chase their ambitions, but they don't pursue their vision.
Hmm.
And they chase their ambitions, but don't pursue their vision. And so that's a big problem that's running rampart with all types of sports.
Yeah, man, that you said a lot right there. Chasing your ambitions, but your vision. So leads me to believe that if you vacate that vision or you don't give attention to it, then somewhere in your life there's like a deficit where it's not getting the attention that it needs. Um, do you think that in that time, have you seen a situation like that? And was there something that you did to maybe help or coach or even in your business help people to get aligned where they need to get aligned? So now that they are in the right place, they're giving attention to the right thing versus just ambition. Now giving attention to that vision that's in their heart.
Yeah, 2017, I was fortunate to be an assistant coach with Jeff Van Gundy team. And we wound up winning gold medal. We was down by 20 against Argentina and at the half, and we came back to win the gold. Phenomenal experience, right? So it's me, Greg Popovich, Jeff Van Gundy, Sean Ford, and Samson Kiyogi. We all went to dinner. So I know my role, I know my place. And I'm just sitting there quiet. I do not drink. Greg loves wine, so I'm drinking wine. It's nasty as all get out, but I'm just enjoying the listening to the conversations. And and Greg stopped and said, Coach, I mean, Ty, like, what's going on, man? What do you think? We talked about something. I said, man, I'm just here enjoying my time. He says, man, you are a coach. I can learn from you. You can learn from me. Only difference is I have more experience because I'm older. But never put yourself into the fact. So I asked him, how did you coach Tim Duncan and Manu and Tony so hard? Like, how did you coach them so hard to get them to play so hard for you? He said, man, most people only they only see me on TV yelling and coaching with this look because I'm doing my job. But what they don't see is all the time, energy, and effort they put into every one of my players. So I know I was at, Manu's wife's birthday or his mom's birthday or Tony's kid's birthday party or Tim, whatever. Like I love my players. And so what that helped me to do is in 2020, God gave me 2020. God gave me clear vision of who I am and whose I am. And I realized I was chasing my ambition, right? I would have these up and down ranges of emotions. I was happy one day we were winning. I was sad the next day. And I just willfully gave my peace away. And I realized that I put my ambitions in a higher priority than my vision. And so I came back to Dallas, started my business, and now my vision ignites my ambition. And so currently, I have different clients, range from owner operator of a Chick-fil-A in Jersey to a 14-year-old girl in Kansas City that plays volleyball. And I'm talking to my executive leader in Chick-fil-A, and the only thing he worries about is the bottom line. And I told him this, man. I said, you're missing the opportunity to inspire your executive director, your employees. They're looking at you for inspiration, right? And if you're too strong, they won't be. Right? There's a fine line to being the boss and being a leader. Do you want to be a boss or do you want to be a leader? And he told me leader. I said, well, great. Well, stop chasing your ambitions. The bottom line is a byproduct of the time, energy, and effort you spend with each one of your employees. And so now we have this 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 thing called your notebook, not your notes. N-O-T-E, your notebook, K-N-O-W.
Mm.
So he writes down everything he knows he had to improve on. And I say the biggest attribute of a leader is knowing that he don't know. And if you know that you don't know, you're always trying to improve and get better. So every day he wake up, he looks at his notebook. And the things he know he has to get better at, that's what he's focusing on that day. Right? And so that's one example from one of my clients, but man, I can talk about it and so well because I went through it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one example of many that I have with my clients.
No, that's really good, man. I know you have many clients, and that's a good example. And we definitely don't want to miss opportunities that may be right in front of us. And sometimes it takes someone like yourself or a leader in some capacity to be able to come around and bring that out of you. Because as leaders, we can't act like we know it all. I mean, I've been there to where we
Yep.
we we can't get help. We don't get help. I've seen it on coaching staffs where the biggest thing that a head coach has to know is that you can learn from your assistants. Now you're still their leader, but you have to allow them to give voice, and they're there to help you. And it's vice versa. Assistant coaches should learn from the head coach. But I think more importantly, one of the most mature moves that anyone can make is to put yourself in the way of learning. If you don't know something, like you said, you go find out, go talk to someone. I think me and you were talking on the phone the other day where I mentioned to you that I just picked up the phone and just I talked to you and I asked you some questions about what you do, and because I do
Hmm.
some of the similar things, but I actually got that from listening to some Kobe Bryant videos where he said he would just cold call people, man, just to learn. Share an example where you have actually put into practice what you actually teach other executives and leaders to do.
Oh, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That question again, please.
Yeah. So, concerning like leaders and how you mentioned just them putting themselves in a place to learn, or
Yeah.
hiring someone that like yourself, to help them in their leadership role. Maybe even give an example of how you have done that, when you've been in leadership roles where you've reached out to people and really just tried to learn what you didn't know or reinforce some
Yeah.
things that you had in your care.
Yeah. So reaching this issue about this, I think is more important than we should reaching out to the right.
Hmm.
Because this is such a self-preservation time that we are in, and a lot of people don't want to give information. A lot of people don't want to, share how they made it. Maybe, and I don't know why, but that's just the reality. But what I have done is start reading more. What I have done is start studying more and praying more and meditating more.
Hmm.
Listening to different people. There's one practice that I do with myself, and I tell my clients to do. I think we all have these moments where we just feel defeated, right? And we allow these negative thoughts to come in, and if we don't get rid of those thoughts will take root, right? Those thoughts will start to change our energy. And so it's this exercise that I have my clients do who are dealing with lack of confidence and self awareness and all those good things. I tell them, all right, to count to 10 in your mind. And I need you to repeat after me. And so everybody on this particular call, right now, count to 10 when I say go. And then I need you to repeat after me whatever I say. All right, go. I am.
I am.
And as simple as that is, you can't count to 10 and verbalize I am at the same time.
Mm.
So that what the exercise does is allows people to control their thoughts, to stop their thoughts. So we will allow negative thoughts to come in our mind, and we will subconsciously let those thoughts stay without disrupting that momentum. But if you verbalize something, now you just stop that momentum right dead in its tracks. So right now, I know that I'm good enough to be on the NBA bench. So the enemy may try to plant those seeds. Man, look at so and so on TV. You know him. You coach better than him. Nope, I am. I am right where I need to be, right where I want to be. So right then and there, I start that negative energy and replace that with what God wants, with what God wants me to say, what God wants me to be. So that's a simple exercise that I use all the time. And the fact that I always got my AirPods in, people think I'm listening to music anyway.
Nah, man, that's good because as strong minded as I am, and I thought I knew what was coming, and when you said what we needed to say, I can't do it. Like I can't do it. You know how you try to just fight your way through it? It's like impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Nah, that's really good, man. Just taking your thoughts captive, man, because the enemy does try to bring things, um,
Absolutely.
all the time, but you have to stay strong mentally. And so, and honestly, I think that that's a really good trait for us coaches to really teach the players that and the people that are under us, that we're in leadership over. You got to teach them that trait, man, because life is gonna speak to you. You may encounter something that's hard to do and it's like, oh, just quit.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear those voices and everything. Go ahead.
But the question is, how many coaches on here train the mind with the same purpose and energy that they train the body? Self and your players.
Yeah.
I really believe that's the biggest separator. There's so many. Just think of Kobe. So many 6'6" athletes that played the game, right? So many. But his separator was his mind. He was elite. His mind. That's what made him one of the greats, not his athletic ability. And I think we as leaders are dropping the ball at every level with not keep learning how to train the mind. I tell parents this: if your kid doesn't have mental strength and conditioning and exercises, they will be controlled by a mental emergency. It's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. So we're going to be proactive. And so right now, I take my son every Sunday for a mindset session. And I'm teaching him about growth mindset. I'm helping him identify his mental strongholds. And the same thing I tell my sales team from this company or my leadership team from that company is what I'm telling my son right now. I'm teaching my son how to meditate and how important it is. And so, like, and my son is 12. My son can tell you the definition of a growth mindset compared to a fixed mindset. Mm-hmm. And we have to educate ourselves because it's our responsibility. So many of my bosses have told me it's your job to get these guys mentally and physically prepared. So what are you doing mentally to prepare these guys outside of showing them film?
Mm. Man, look, we're gonna stay right here for a minute because hey, I could have got up and ran around the room. This is my stuff right here, this mentality piece. But here's the thing. If anybody wants to jump in the conversation, have any questions for Coach Ellis, please request to speak, because we can buzz you in and get you in the conversation if you got questions or anything. Also, click the retweet, share this because man, I'm telling you, this is the stuff right here that separates those that are great from those that aren't. And it's an on purpose thing. And I'll continue the conversation with this. Earlier, I was watching a like a mini series of Becky Hammond, and I actually just shared it at the top of this spaces. I posted a little video, and what she was saying was, she said that she didn't have the the length, the athleticism that other athletes did. So she said she couldn't dominate the game in that way. But she said that she had to develop a mentality where she approached the game as a chess game and she had to dominate in having a mentality to prepare to see things and develop herself to see and react to things that other people were not doing, and it was very powerful. And it's like that's it right there. That's where the rubber meets the road. It's if you can outthink someone and have that strong mentality, you can beat them.
Yeah, 100%. As you get higher in your field, regardless of what sport it is, regardless of what business it is, everybody has the prerequisite that's required to be good. But it's your mindset that's going to help you be great. And that's why there's only so many greats in these areas of business and in sports. Everybody can't be great. So separate. And it is now more than ever in your mind. There's so many kids that are committing physical suicide, literally killing themselves. But the one suicide we don't talk about is the mental suicide, where a young kid or a professional player goes from thinking I can to I can't. I'm not good enough no more. Well, that person is physically living, but he's dead mentally. And it's only because as leaders we wasn't proactive in addressing the mindset.
Yeah, the biggest, and I love player development. The biggest part of player development is mental development. That outweighs anything you can do physically, as well as if you're a leader in anything else. If you're just teaching the motions and what to do, you're missing a key factor. The mentality will drive that other stuff if you just get the mentality together. It'll drive all that other stuff. Whereas if you don't train that mentality, yeah, they might perform like you need them to perform, but there's nothing driving it, and somewhere it's gonna short fuse.
One
So
hundred percent. It's only a matter of time.
yeah, definitely is. Anybody that's listening, if you want to jump in on this conversation, you got questions, please hop on. We're right under that 20-minute mark. Definitely want to respect everyone's time. So we got a little bit more to go. This is some powerful stuff right here. This is what I love. This is what I enjoy, that mentality piece, and that's why I really enjoy having Coach Ty Ellis on today. And I see a lot of coaching friends that are hopping on now, so I appreciate you guys hopping on. Please share this. We still got a little time, and I know we're gonna get into some more things as well. But talk a little bit about um, what you do in a standpoint of making a difference. You just don't. I know there's people that they go around and they do stuff, and they may get paid to do what they do, and they're going through life. But I know with your heart, man, you really aim to make a difference in these programs that you talk to, athletes, coaches that you lead, organizations, and programs that you're blessed to be able to use your gifts and talents to help them build what they're building. Just really, for a few moments, just talk out of your heart, man. What really drives you in doing this, and even the pleasure of being able to see your impact, be able to change, everybody that you come into contact with.
What drives me, my vision, and most importantly, because God gave it to me. And I've literally expressed my vision to some people, and some people will try to rewrite it. But God gave me this vision clear as day. And so I haven't given up on coaching in the NBA. I've just surrendered it. And so I know if God wants me in the NBA, that's what's going to happen. But God wants me right here giving my gift. And my gift is inspiration. My gift is helping. I want to help. If I have a young coach that's coaching in the G League, I want to help him get to the NBA. If I have a sales team where this particular person is afraid to fail, I want to teach them how failure is your friend. And so my ultimate goal is to create a legacy of impact. Basketball is what I do, is not who I am. And that's what drives me. I do not care about the X's and O's. I just happen to be good at it. What I care about is people. And that's what drives me. I care about helping people and leaving a legacy that when I'm gone, my legacy lives forever. And that's what's most important to me right now.
Yeah, man, and knowing your life, man, I know you have even the stories that I heard, man. It's just so many learning points where you've been through so many things that, not only that the Lord has blessed you to be a part of, but you've also seen both sides of the successes and the failures and things like that. Maybe talk about a time where you had to really persevere, man, where it just seems like, it wasn't going to happen for you. I know you gave the story before with you and Mitch Kupchak, but just a story where you had to hang in there. And the reason I asked that is because and you know how it is being a coach. You've been a coach, and sometimes you're waiting for that break, or you're waiting for somebody to see you and it seems like nobody is, and you're just trying to get to that next place, or maybe it's you're trying to get, to that winning season and you've had three bad seasons, and whatever that may be. What can you touch on to just inspire the people that are in the room tonight, something that they can take
Yeah.
back and really put into practice to give them hope at where they are?
You know, professional sports is, and I would assume collegiate sports is the same, but I've never coached there. But professional sports is unfair. It's unfair. They don't care. They're selfish. They just don't care. I've been fortunate. I used to say unfortunate. But I've been fortunate enough to be a part of two of the worst NBA organizations at that time. The Phoenix Suns was horrible before Monty got there. From top to bottom, the Sacramento Kings were during my time there a couple years ago. They cared about people. They only respected positions. Both organizations. And it didn't matter how well I did. It didn't matter that, my teams had the most call-ups. We won our conference, and you're supposed to ascend appropriately, but I didn't. And I don't. I have my ideas and thoughts, but at the end of the day, I didn't want me there. So I'm fortunate enough to be a part of a bad situation to learn what not to do. I'm fortunate enough to be to be a part of a bad situation that grew me to the person I am now. So when I'm in talking to people, I can help you get through that tough situation because I went through it. And that's part of vision. God allowed that to happen to make me who I am today and put me in the place I am in today. And so it was hard. It's hard seeing your peers ascend, to NBA benches and NBA head coaches, and I know what I've done against them. But that's the enemy trying to compare, right? And comparison is the worst mental stronghold that you can subject yourself to. Right? And so I just persevered, right? And I surrendered. Right? I fully surrendered to what God has for me. And it's okay if I don't coach in the NBA again. It's okay because I surrender. Ultimately, I want to be in God's will anyway.
Mm.
And taking my peace back by surrendering. And so I encourage those men and women who are out there who are going through it, take your peace. Stop chasing your ambition, pursue your vision, and surrender your journey to God. And I promise you, you will breathe a lot better. You will smile a lot more because you captured your peace.
Man, that's so powerful, man. Man, I can't say enough about what you just said. We do have a question. Jay, how you doing, man? I don't know if you can hear me, Jay, but I saw you request to speak. Can you hear me? He may have connection issues, but anybody that wants to ask questions or join in the conversation, please click the request button, and I'll buzz you in to speak. But man, that's just so powerful, man. It brings you to a place of peace where that comparison thing is a big deal. I mean, I've talked to coaches, man, where that's one of the first things they may say, like, man, I can't believe they hired, so and so. I got more experience than them, and this and that. And that can literally bring you to a place of torment mentally, because, I mean, I've been there, and I had to come to a place in my mind and say, you know what? They don't owe me anything. They don't have to hire me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to get to a place where I need to get to mentally so that I can be settled and have peace in my life and operate. Because here's the thing, what God has for you, there's nobody else on the planet that can do what you do and what He created you to do. You're unique and always will be. And that's the place I feel like people have to get in touch with, because when they start comparing, kind of like the example you gave where you count to 10, but then you interrupt with something, you can't zero in on your purpose and vision and at the same time think of how much somebody else shouldn't have got a job because you got more qualifications. You can't do it.
Yeah. Listen, man, for me, when I see my friend ascend, I'm like, awesome. Because I know that God is no respecter of persons. So if God did it for him, I know my time is coming. Right? And there's so many young people that are being held hostage from comparison. And this is what I tell them, and I really hope these coaches pay attention to this right here. This is very valuable. You should tell your students. I've told last year I spoke to Missouri University 2 times where Quanzo Martin was coaching. Quanzo was super dope, and he brought me back twice. But what I told them was, you guys are comparing yourselves to the real and not the real. And they gave me this Scooby Doo look. Now, you guys are comparing yourself to the REEL and not the REAL, right? And y'all comparing yourselves to perfection. And that's unfair because there's no such thing. But the real is, you didn't see what happened 2 hours before or 2 hours afterwards. Right? The real is everybody makes mistakes. Right? What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. The real is if I just put the work in and trust that I will be seen. I'm gonna put the work in when nobody's around. Your opportunity will come. Like Dame Lillard wasn't Dame Lillard until he made the NBA.
Mm.
He was the same guy that everybody is everybody loves. He was not being recruited from Major League Ones out of Oakland. He was the same Dame Lillard at Weber State, shooting the ball for 30 feet. Right? But he didn't care about things he had no control. He put that work in and it paid. Very, very simple. And I think simplicity equals efficiency. If we can keep it simple, we'll be so much more effective.
Man, that's that the simplicity is the thing, man. You know, it's so much out here that will complicate things. And honestly, if you get the wrong person in your ear, I mean, it'll take you left, you know?
Yeah,
And that's why kind of like you said earlier, you getting help from the right people is what you said. That's important. And honestly, that's what drives me to bring people on like yourself, man, that I'm in touch with. And I see Coach Karen from Maryland on here, just another person that's full of wisdom that's been on these spaces and just good people. I've tried my best to surround myself with those kind of people, and I encourage every coach on here, connect with others, man. You know, after we're done here, and then I'll give Coach Ty opportunity to give his information where you can contact him. Reach out to him. You know, he works with coaches and programs all the time and mentors and does leadership types of things because there's things that he's been through and he's just been blessed to use of his experiences and the wisdom that he's been able to gain and from the Lord and the experiences to help people like you all. And so I'm passionate about coaches for sure, and that's why I've built this platform to bring coaches on that have been through some things and have some knowledge that can share some nuggets. And I just really want coaches to be blessed in what you do because I know the grind. I know that grind. It is a grind and it is a different kind of profession. Coaching is not like bagging groceries. You can go home after that. Coaching takes part of your life to do. It takes a piece of you. You're invested. You're fully invested in giving to these young people and leading a coaching staff and leading different people that may be on your staff roster. It takes a piece of you.
yep, for sure. We talk about finding the right person to listen to and finding the right people to call. There is one part of most of my talks I talk about has such a negative connotation to it. And if I was to ask a group of people, how many of you guys are leaders? Raise their hand. How many of you guys are followers? They'll drop their hand. And that's so right. Every great leader was a follower first. Now, as parents, I have to teach my son who to follow, how to identify the right person to follow. But growing up, my parents told me, "Don't you be a follower." Well, if I'm not following nobody, how will I learn? And so, as we have to understand as leaders, they see and hear everything.
Mm.
Like our words, and it lays on them. So if you can't, if you're a leader of emotion, you're not leading. You're just not. I remember I was in Phoenix. I was blessed to be a front of the bench assistant for the Phoenix Suns, and we were in Houston, and the Rockets was kicking out, but we were down about 30 or 35, maybe even 40. I don't know. But we were down so much, Devin Booker was sitting out. So he's on the bench and he is upset. At this time, I think Book is 19, maybe his second year in the league. So he's relatively young, but he's arguably the best player on the team at 19. And so I look at, and so I was a third assistant. So I was sitting next to the players, and Book always sat right next to me, the first bench, the first seat to go in. So I sit here asking him, bro. I say, bro, are you a leader? He gave me this like scowl, like, yeah, Ty, why? Because I know he's mad and he's pissed off. I said, okay, hey, great. Do everybody like you? Yeah, Ty, yeah, Ty, why you keep asking me this? Yeah. I said, well, brother, you're not leading it. Because you come off the bench and tell us, man, they have to get back on defense. You come off out of the game and tell us they're not passing the ball. You can't tell them because you're not doing that. When you stop focusing on being liked and put more focus on being respected, that's when you're gonna be the David Booker that we all see in practice every single day, right? But right now, you're so focused on being liked, compromising who you are as a leader. And so unfortunately, we got fired the following year. But and I've seen Devin from time to time, but right now, Devin is leading, right? Because he's doing what he wanted everybody else to do first. And that's the beauty of growing into yourself as a leader. And so I encourage all my leaders out there, man, to lead by listening and lead and influence by inspiring.
Man, that's awesome right there. That's one of those mic drop quotes right there, man. Can you say that one more time just so we can catch it for the recording? Hmm. Man, that's very, very powerful, man. Coaches, I hope that you guys are grabbing a hold of this stuff. We just have just a few moments here before we wind this thing down and end it. Anybody have any questions for Coach Ellis, or anything that you got from this? You just want him to harp on, or anything of that nature before we allow him the opportunity to enjoy the rest of his evening. If you have any questions or either comments, now's the time. We have a few moments before we get off of the tonight's spaces. So if you want to request to speak and ask a question, we just want to open the floor right now for that. In the meantime, while we're waiting for anybody that may want to ask you any questions, Coach Ty, maybe just tell us just some of the different array of things that when you work with people professionally that you do, whether that's, I know you do your talks, you get more in depth where you go in and work with people. I know you do some things with organizations. Like, maybe tell us just a few things that you actually do with your company, and then I want you to share your information for any coaches out here that may want to contact you and get in touch with you, whether that's to connect or use your services to help them with where they are and in their program. Can you share that with us all?
Yeah, sure. So man, I am an optimal performance coach slash speaker. I talk about leadership, empowerment, and growth mindset. And so whether it's a group of AAU kids, and I've spoken to those groups, or I'm speaking, in Vegas at this uh, big convention, or being a keynote, or helping college teams identify their culture, or sales teams find their blind spots. God has blessed me to literally travel the country these last 2 years, speaking to a different array of audiences, from colleges to companies to individuals. I have 9 clients, range from professional basketball athletes in the NBA in Europe, to executives and CEOs of different companies, all the way down to 2 girl volleyball coaches, volleyball players, and one 14-year-old soccer player. So God has opened up so many doors for me. and yeah, I'm a thought leader. I'm not a psychiatrist or a therapist. They're clinical, right? I would compare those people to the emergency room. I'm more so CVS. Like I'm gonna give you your daily vitamins. I'm gonna give you these things that's gonna be proactive and keep you healthy, keep your mind healthy. So we never have to go to the emergency room to a psychiatrist or for a therapist. My website is ellispg.com. My name of my company is ellisperformancegroup.com. Anybody who wants my services, I give a free consultation, and we go from there. Whether it's me coming in to speak to your group or you want personal coaching, everybody gets a free consultation. You just go to email me at ty@ellispg.com, and I'll get that email, and we can schedule a time to connect.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Make sure you guys connect with him with this information. Man, it will be well worth it. I've been connected with Coach Ty for some time here now, and my goodness, man, I just really appreciate the gift that he is and what he brings to not only our sport, basketball, all sports, organizations, just his leadership style and what he does goes beyond just the realm of just basketball, you know. No matter where you might find yourself, connect with them. I think it'd be well worth it for where you are and where you find yourself in leadership. So, last call. Anybody want to answer? I mean, or I'm sorry, ask any questions? Have any questions for Coach Ty? I just want to give it just a few moments. We're gonna give it maybe just 2 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and end. So, if anybody has a question, I just want to open it up one last time. Coach, I just appreciate you taking your evening, away from the family and what you have lined up for this evening, just to take a few moments to just share with us, man. This has really been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Multiple conversations, and your heart to give back to the game. I'm seeing X's and O's. Like that's pretty awesome, man. So thank you very much. I do have a book coming out with my defense, the hexagon defense. Some people here probably have we talk about it or seen videos, but Lord willing, it'll be out in January. So man, and looking forward to doing this again.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight. Just a quick prayer as we end. Lord, we just thank you for blessing everybody that's been listening tonight. We thank you that even the information that went forth, Lord, that they'll retain it and take it and put it in operation within their lives, within their programs, that it'll help them be better coaches, better individuals, better leaders. So we just thank you for that. We give you praise for it in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody. We appreciate, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We appreciate everybody listening in tonight, and we'll see you on the next one.